just end it. Just stop going with it.
Right. Yeah. Well, when you commit to things, they're always honest about, commit. Well, you got to stay committed to something. When you make this happen, this contact, you got to make it count. Like there's no.
Well, he stayed committed. That's for sure.
Yeah.
All the way through.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Anyway,
it's unbelievable that, again, we always love to talk about the great things that police are doing and the thousands of great police interactions that police have with the community day in and day out. But it never fails. And we are always willing to own some of these dumbass things that cops do because they seem to obviously get more attention than a lot of the good things. And
right.
I mean, I couldn't even believe this after I watched the body cam, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. But I'm sure a lot of people have either seen or heard of this because it's made a lot of news actually around the country just because it's so dumb. But in Lake Worth Beach, Florida, this cop, he's doing, whatever, it's daytime, looks like he's doing traffic enforcement. Well, he decides he sees a woman driving who is texting. Phone in hand, he said, according to him in the body cam, the verbiage of manipulating the phone in your hand, whatever. Okay, great. So he stops this lady and he walks up and he says, hey, the reason I'm Officer so and so, I stopped you because I saw you with your phone in your right hand as you passed by. And what does she do? She pulls up her arm and there's no hand. It's a stump.
She's an amputee.
Yeah.
Or something happened where it didn't develop. I don't know what the whole backstory is medically there. That HIPAA
right, you didn't get.
But he goes with it.
But that being said, it's brutally obvious that she was not texting with her right hand and a phone in her hand because there is no hand. Right. Like there's no hand.
Right.
So it's not
no
even
opposing thumb. Nothing.
Right. Nothing.
Nothing. And not to make light of her disability at all, but she calls him out. She's like, look, she's waving the stump arm up at him. Like, look.
Right.
And she had good for her. She was like, no, look at me.
She's yeah. That's good. Yeah.
And he keeps on with saying with the right hand. I know what I saw. Dude, no, you don't. I mean, and here's the thing, everybody's had one of these, you make a traffic stop. Maybe you thought that they were handling their phone, but then
maybe it was the wrong car or something. I don't. Maybe
maybe you thought they had a seatbelt on and they didn't. I mean, that happens a lot.
Right?
I mean, reasonable suspicion you can articulate.
Right?
And you can be wrong too.
Right?
The courts have recognized that.
And he could so easily have turned this into.
Sorry about your missing hand. Be on your way.
I don't know. I don't know exactly what I would say. Put on this.
But you have to fall on the sword and say, "Oh my God, I must have." I'm sorry. I thought.
I'm so sorry.
Apologies. Sorry. Maybe it was a car that maybe looked like yours. My apologies. Here's your verbal.
Yeah.
You wave bye to her or something. I don't know.
And oh my God. Fist bump. No.
Right.
The.
Wow.
Terrible. So, but
they call it a stump bump.
But that. But knuckles. But that being said,
you just hold your hand like this.
He should have recognized right away. Okay, it's not an affront to you or your skills as a police officer. Again, maybe you thought you saw something different.
Right.
Maybe she was turned a certain way. Whatever. Sure, her car have tinted windows. He's got tinted windows. Hey, if you made a mistake, you made a mistake. Own it. Don't turn. And then he goes and he still writes her the ticket. He doesn't even say, okay, well, I apologize. Maybe it appeared that way, but obviously that was not the case. And you've already said, I saw it in your right hand. So it wasn't like I saw a phone in your hand. Not that you're trying to be dishonest, but I mean, you need to just let that one go, man. What the fuck are you doing? And then you go back and what are you thinking to yourself when you're writing that ticket? I saw a phone in her hand. I know she got no hand.
She probably threw her hand out the window.
Right.
That's how. I can't be wrong.
Right.
I want to go to. Right. And you're so determined, instead of just saying, hey, listen, it's my mistake or whatever. And you're so determined. I want to see them go to court. And the judge is like, could you sign this affidavit? No. And the judge going, what?
And he sends the ticket through, but then they must have contacted their whatever local prosecutor and said, yeah, we need to dismiss this. And I would imagine, or I would hope, because she probably called the department, or the story got out, obviously, right? And maybe a supervisor looked this video over and he's like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Are you kidding me? Like, you had every opportunity to make an awkward interaction with someone and spin it around and leave everybody feeling okay about it. You know what I mean? You could have said, hey, I'm so sorry. Maybe I saw something I didn't. Again, we've already, said, like, yeah, you could have walked away from this. And this is the kind, like, this is what you want to push. This was the thing that day that you're like, I'm writing a fucking texting ticket. Right. And I'm going to write a lady with no hand a ticket that I said was texting with her hand. We laugh because it's so stupid. What the fuck was going through his head?
This is the stuff that just gives us bad names, because listen, everybody makes mistakes in every profession, and like you said, you see stuff you don't see sometimes. Your eye catches you. It could be, that car's traveling 35 miles an hour. It could be like, oh, it's the first white car, but then it was a second white car or whatever, and you walk up and you're like, hey. You're allowed to make mistakes, apologize and move on, make light of it, make a joke about it, apologize, saying, oh my God, I am so sorry, whatever, but move on. But to keep pressing it, you look like an ass.
Well, there could be factors in that, like, I'm not saying that this is right, but I'm saying, like, he's a young officer, maybe he hasn't been around enough. Maybe there's a lot of pressure on guys to make sure, like, they say, man, if you make a stop and it turns out to be the wrong reason. I was told that a ton of times, 20 years ago when we were training. Plus, like, you're going to get jammed. They can sue you or whatever. It's like, no, stop saying that, because your PTO or FTO doesn't even know what he's talking about. He's just saying that to you because he's trying to scare you as a recruit. And that's stuck with him. And he's like, well, I got to do something. I got to document this on some level. I got to, because a lot of states have that. Like, if we stop somebody here, you have to write something and provide them a written, like, warning or a ticket, or, or at least, hey, like, hey, I'm sorry, it's on body cam. It's everything, ma'am. I'm sorry, that's what it was. Like, you were going by. I normally don't see these kind of things. I'd say you have to admit that this is probably pretty unique, and I got to hand it to you. You can drive with one arm. That's kind of cool. Like, something like that. That bit, obviously, you can leave that second part out. But, like, the idea, like, that there's pressure on people, like, and if you're not, like, we don't a lot of times train people to be like, they used to say to us, be a bigger picture thinker than just, I got to write a ticket. And that's what kind of this could smack of. Because the guy had to make it through the police academy. He had to, like, Chris, you're in Florida, you know what's going on. Like, he had to learn, like, laws. He had to learn tactics. He had to learn some things. That this guy isn't a blithering idiot. But then when you get into a real agency, there are institutional pressures that people put on you. Like, you better have done something. You better be right about it, or you're going to get sued. They used to hit us with getting sued all the time. And it was like, and you would make decisions that were like, I'm just trying to protect myself, where you just don't do something that's human that makes the person go, I'm not even going to complain about this. This is just going to be a thing, like, whatever. Right. I'm going to laugh and tell my friends at the bar, tell my girlfriends what a clown this guy was or whatever. But at least he was willing to, like apologize. And when I watched it, I was like, dude, at any point you could end this. Just be like, I'm just so sorry. Like, just defang your enemy at this point and be like, I'm so sorry. I like this. I know what this seems like. You've already been through enough, ma'am, obviously, in your life. This is a bad call on my part. You're free to leave. Do you have any questions to me? If you have any complaints to make, please, whatever. Immediately on the phone with my supervisor, hey, boss, here's what happened. I stopped her. This is what happened. You can see where I'm coming from, but I apologize. You can check my body cam. No, I was like, can you go back up with the ticket? And then she was going to have to go to court and be further insulted because the judge says, raise your right hand and repeat it. Like the guy will, like, swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. Like that too. Ron DeSantis is probably going to Brady this guy himself because this is so stupid. It's so
but that's the thing. It's just, just like you're pushing something, and just I guarantee you, if he would have said, oh man, my bad, I'm sorry, whatever, this would have never gotten out.
No, it would have been nothing. It would have been nothing.
Because how many times you pulled somebody over, you're like, oh, you whiz by, it didn't look like you had your seatbelt on. Oh, well, it's a little bit back, or I didn't see it, or or whatever. Hey, sorry, good. Thank you for driving safely. Appreciate it. Have a good day. Right. And even if they start with, well, you pulled me over because of this, it ends it. I thought I saw what I saw.
Sorry.
Apologize.
I'm sorry.
Move along.
People make mistakes. You make mistakes. Yeah, right. It is what it is. It's just
I'm trying to do a Jedi mind trick or something. Just let it go, bro. Come on.
Right. And I think that like Florida should develop like a law that if you do that to somebody that like has no hand, they should get one of those rubber Halloween hands and they get to slap you in the face like a duel kind of a thing out on the right side, and everything's forgotten. Like you get to do that as the person with no hand because you've already suffered one indignity, and just like you just smack the guy with that jiggling rubber hand that you have. It's anyway.
Like it falls somewhere between a written reprimand and a verbal, like rubber hand slap.
Right. It could have been handled so much.
He gets 1 day in a rubber hand slap.
And hey, seriously, to your point though, like I know we're joking about it, but to your point, yes, imagine her going to court and having to. She has a disability, right? And she's made it perfectly clear to this cop. And then you would add insult to injury by saying, well, you want to fight it, you can go to court. And this poor young lady's going to have to go to court and stand up there. And people, everybody, I mean, I'm sure she deals with enough with that, right? And now you're going to tell her to go to court and she's going to have to explain this to a judge. Could you imagine what the city prosecutor or county prosecutor or whatever, whoever handles their cases would look at this and go, this is dismissed. Get out of here. What? And you walk over to this cop and I'm sorry, man. You're who your next worst hazing would be from your fellow officer.
Oh my God.
Could you imagine?
Nonstop.
Oh my God, that'd be worse than any punishment you would get from your agency. I couldn't even imagine, like you said, somebody be taping a rubber hand to his locker door. Just like you would just get.
I would be unmerciful. I would wake up, go to bed with something stupid. I would be unmerciful.
It just
the prosecutor actually went with the case because the guy insisted, from what I understand, and he had. Do you see this person in the courtroom at this time? And he actually picked somebody that had a right hand. So he got that wrong too. And like, Your Honor, nulli pros. Obviously, that's a joke. That was a bit, obviously, right there. The dude did drop the ticket subsequently, and I guess apologized in some way, shape, or form. But it's like, again, it's too late now. Our whole world is video. Like, there's so many, like I said, an apology can go a long way. An understanding of that, like, it makes you more understanding of the people you serve as well. Again, the reason we're harping on this is because, like, last week we talked about a guy that had a really good interaction with a dude that was somewhat profane, but potentially probably saved that guy's life in a situation that we're all dealing with. Here's a situation where it's infinitely easier. You just say, "Hey, I'm sorry." That video makes no light of day. Like it's not out there, like making us all look like this is how cops are, because you know how the public is, and you know how we all are as well. Like one person does one thing, that must be everybody. So to me, I was like, "Come on, dude, you could have just so fixed this so easily, and you could have had a funny exchange with her, like." Are you on the way to your guitar lesson?
Like something but she, in all honesty, we make jokes, but she seemed pretty solid. Like, you kind of get that feeling like you could have joked with her or whatever, Sorry, but
when the article I was reading, she said like of an influencer, a social media type person.
Now she probably blew up.
Yeah, and she was rolling with it in. I'm like, she's not exactly being like, we've seen plenty of traffic stops where people are being ignorant.
Right.
And they're completely wrong, and they're being ignorant. Where she was like pretty cool about it, and she kept trying to say, like, she was giving him like the lifeline.
She gave him every opportunity to get out,
and he still didn't take it. It's just like, all right,
she wasn't even being rude. She's like, "Come on, like,
bro, I'm giving you an off ramp so this doesn't go viral. But now, thank you for boosting my thing." It's crazy, but it's been a week of ridiculousness, right there, Thorson?
It is, and as we continue around the nation. The next story in the hopper is a little closer to home for me, from New Chicago, Indiana, which is, one of these little towns is just over the border there, like into Lake County, Indiana, just as you're traveling out of the Chicagoland area. Not a real metropolis, but in the news, because the chief. Now, I initially heard this was the chief got like locked up in Ohio or something, and they're like, the chief of New Chicago, and I'm like, okay, well, there's something crazy going on here, right? Well, as you would expect, the chief of police in New Chicago, Indiana, Earl Mayo, was charged with theft, official misconduct, and attempted obstruction of justice, as well as unlawful possession of anabolic steroids, because he was taking guns out of evidence and selling them to a pawn shop. And the reason this came up, because they had a case where, and as most agencies do nowadays, they do firearm traces and whatnot on guns that are used in certain kinds of crimes or guns that are recovered, and they go to do a trace on this gun, and it's sitting in a pawn shop in Hobart, Indiana. and so
what say you, Brandon Johnson, Indiana,
right.
all of our gun problems.
Right.
There you go.
Oh my God.
Who would have known that this chief was really taking leadership to a new level by getting the guns out of Illinois into pawn shops in Indiana? But
they didn't want to pay for storage. They went. It's helping. It's thinning out the evidence room for storage. I mean, so it's the entrepreneurial spirit in him.
Yeah. So then what is he? So the thing's sitting at the Mega Cash Pawn in Hobart. So he sends somebody there to go get it, like to go buy it back.
Oh my God.
I mean, come on, man. And then and then there's this, they go and they talk to this manager of the pawn shop, and he tells them, yeah, some lady came to buy this Taurus pistol back, wearing a tracksuit that was like similar to what they'd seen when somebody dropped the gun off. And he apparently, the manager said that the pawn shop said he's purchased multiple guns from this Mayo in the past, and at least 12 guns. So what?
Okay, so I have a whole plethora of questions. So, okay, 12 guns. Now, how is it that when the pawn shop bought the gun, they have to put it through the system? So you don't think the gun number one would have been put in the system and the serial number would have matched, that comes back to a crime? Like, but no, we're 12 guns in. Like, seriously, how does that even work?
It was this guy's personal Operation Fast and Furious that the Obama administration did, selling guns to the Mexican terrorists. He was going to prove something some way, and it just completely spiraled out of control. It was good intentions gone awry at the local level, and for past inspiration. It's you look at this and you think to yourself, again, how do these people get these jobs?
Right.
When they're like, I think ordinary patrolman would stop for a second and go, man, I don't know. This one, it's a gun. First and foremost, it's kind of weird. Like anything with guns, even with cops, are like, man, there's a gun involved. What do we do? How do we handle this? It's dangerous, but there's also the freedoms associated with it. And now I'm taking it across the border. Everybody in that would be like, man, this is a little weird. Like this is like anybody at a base level, like in most places where I've worked, would be like, yeah, there's something rotten in Denmark. And
but I'm not even a detective, and I knew they have to run serial numbers through a database when they take stuff in.
But again, it's how, like everything, like who what like people are like, he's a chief, man, it must be done or whatever. I'll just take and put it in there and I'll sell it.
Apparently with matching tracksuits.
I mean, I'm not saying this about all pawn shops, but pawn shops for the longest time, until we had registries in Illinois, were notorious for selling stolen goods.
Oh, yeah.
They were notorious for it. We used to have to find things. The pawn shops used to have to enter things in through NCIC and all this other stuff that they never did before. So when you went into a pawn shop, you more than likely were going to be coming across stolen merchandise. Most of the stuff wasn't serial numbered items like guns or electronics and things like that. So like it takes a while for people to catch up to things. I don't know what Indiana's rules are for that. I mean, I'm hoping that they have strict rules, but Illinois does all of these things and we still have all of these problems. But I mean, this is just asinine.
Well, and just to hide that he was the chief, he put a jersey on over his uniform, like when you're driving to court.
Right.
As he walks in.
But the good news now is the New Chicago, Indiana Police Department, they've changed uniforms. It's all matching tracksuits. It's not blue anymore. It's all matching tracksuits with 4 gold chains.
And to add even more to it, his dad, this chief's dad, Jerry Williams, is a Democratic nominee for Lake County Sheriff in Indiana. So I'm sure that's going to bode well When they're asking him, how much he posted for bond for him, or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, they're gonna do a debate, like a political debate on the Gary, Indiana PBS affiliate there, and I'm sure that'll come up in the questioning during the debate and how you would respond to that.
Right. Yeah, Chief Mayo's on the stage with his dad when he gets elected, but he's on electronic monitoring, so you see it like under.
Exactly.
He's got an ankle bracelet.
Right.
And the final icing on the cake with this one is that Chief Mayo wrote a self-published book. I bet you didn't know this. He wrote a self-published book titled "When Lines Are Crossed: Love, Trust, Betrayal: A Story About a Bad Cop Turned Good Battling His Morals."
It was autobiographical more than anything
I was
else.
going to say, apparently a ghostwriter because he didn't read it.
Right.
Oh, my
Well, Pierre
God.
Dusab would be proud because I think it's called New Chicago from the history of it, because Pierre Dusab, who founded Chicago as an outpost, he had a lake house down there, from what I understand.
Right, by the steel mill.
Yeah, by the steel mill, right.
Oh, man. It just keeps getting better. I mean, it just keeps getting better, and it's nuts. It's nuts. And then what else happened this week? The Minneapolis chief. How about that clown? Isn't that great?
I've been waiting.
Isn't that
Sean's
great?
favorite.
The situation, Brian, the situation O'Hara. You know what I mean? Like, hey, that den of vipers up there, to use it, that at this point, it's the Sodom on the Mississippi, Minneapolis. That everybody would just like to forget about at this point, with all of the impropriety that's going on up there. It's only appropriate that, he has provided us with so much great material since we started in this show. And again, people are like, oh, you guys are just a bunch of jerk offs running your mouths about a chief. You don't know how tough his job is. I don't know, man. I think we sniffed this one out pretty good. We had the field test kit and we're flicking the bottom of it with our fingers, and it returned, obviously. We got a positive test on it. Yeah. Now the lab results are back, and that guy was no different than the bums that are up there running that city.
Right.
And he got jammed and fired. He had not fired. He was going to be fired. He was reprimanded. Let me start this over. He got reprimanded, and then he resigned in lieu of the reprimand for attempting to cover up an inappropriate relationship with a fellow city worker. That he engaged in. Multiple. Yeah. Well, he's the situation. What are you going to do?
Right. We all have our crosses to bear, apparently.
Right.
So.
One of them was with one of those Minneapolis male cheerleaders, from what I understand. That part's not true, but anyway.
Firecracker, shish boom ba, Chief O'Hara, rah rah. Oh, that feels good.
He was reprimanded by the mayor, Jacob Fry, who is an above board guy himself.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. There at all, you know what I mean?
Right. Pure.
ICE, get the fuck out of Minneapolis. That's pretty much what happened with Chief O'Hara at this point. So he resigned in lieu of that. And it's, again, you just look at that and you think to yourself, like, too bad there wasn't like a reset button a city could press and say, let's just start over and go back to the beginning and fix this whole thing. You know what I mean? It's like, I look at it and I think to myself, everything, they come home to roost. The chickens come home to roost. Like, you live in a manner and you think you're high and mighty, and the louder you are in the process generally is indicative of, I've got more to hide, at least in the political world. You know what I mean? Like, people can be loud and fighting for their rights when they're on the right side of it, so to speak. But this was like one that when I read it again, not shocked. I mean, there was no shock face.
No.
I was like, all I thought was, man, this is gonna be great material for the podcast. Cause
right.
Whatever. I guess the only thing we could do atop this, Chris, would be actually to get him as a guest on the podcast.
Oh my God.
But the entire time he's sitting in a dunk tank and we're just like throwing baseballs at him.
And what's ignorant is, he, like you said, he was a big chest puffer, and he's out there talking a big game with his tapered sleeves. And hey, anybody that's done this,
praying, talking about scripture and stuff.
Right.
Exactly.
And anybody that's been in this profession for any number of years, you get pretty good at sizing people up and making, looking at people and saying, yeah, I'm calling bullshit on this, right? And again, I don't care. It doesn't have anything to do with being a chief or anything. It's just that this guy, you could tell there was something going on with him, and they were professing him to be this rock star leader and everything that he was going to do. And he was, out there with his half top leather coat on, walking around like, some kind of tough guy with his people out there. Meanwhile, he's screwing multiple city employees all over the place and acting a fool, and then according to some of these stories also then interfering with
that's what he was ultimately
this investigation, right?
Like
so
deleting numbers from his phone was one of the things,
right. So here you are,
not to interrupt, Scott, but but you're the chief of police and you're deleting shit from your phone that never goes away. Like, that's how you solve crimes, you puff-chested moron.
He was the first chief to try to get a budget line at him for cricket phone, so he had a dumb phone, his booty phone.
I see Jacob Fry sitting up there dressed like he's from the 1700s with a quill, dipping it in the ink, and writing out his
a powdered wig,
writing out his reprimand.
Yeah, like one of those French sissies. You know what I mean? Ooh.
It's so stupid. And then, they're talking about, well, we'd seen his wife before, right? And then I'm like, yikes,
she ain't small.
She must have been hitting the gym with him and maybe the steroids too. I mean, she looks like she came straight from American Gladiators or something, like she was with one of those machines shooting tennis balls at him while he was running around the condo trying to get away from her. But
that's foreplay. That was foreplay. Tung, tung, tung. If you dodge 3, you get me.
And so this poor schmuck, the last, I mean, because now I have to keep seeing the updates, and it was something so stupid, but they show him, some news outlet showed him loading a U-Haul truck out in front of his house the other day. It's like he's the divorced dad packing up and has to go, live at the hotel or something.
Right.
He's actually strapping everything down with his workout bands. Right. He's got his mattress strapped down. I need the 10-pounders.
Yeah, I can't fit my Bowflex and my tanning bed in here. What the hell am I supposed to do with all this?
Right.
Yeah, and that's part of his severance package.
Yeah. They didn't even give him he had to rent his own U-Haul, kind of a thing. And because he had no cell phone anymore, they couldn't get a hold of him. They're like, "Can we call you, sir? Is there a number you can put?"
No, you can't use a Minneapolis City credit card to put a deposit down for the hazard waiver, sir.
Right? It's like, oh my god! And he's sleeping under those moving blankets that U-Haul gives you and stuff like that. It's how messed up his life is. Yeah.
Could you imagine? Go ahead.
But again, this is what you rot. The entire time you're up there lecturing all of us about, what we're doing wrong, and you got to be a better person and all those things.
Right.
Look, I know that you guys are being really judgmental about fidelity and all this other stuff. People are falling. I get we're all sinners. But at the same time, what makes that sin worse is that you're doing this thing to a basic relationship that literally is protected by the courts. Your wife and you have, or your partner and you have this relationship that even the courts can't as a cop can't go after you about. They're what you tell your wife is considered what they call, pillow talk, which is protected speech, which means it's like telling your priest or telling your doctor something that it can't be used in court under really, really extraneous circumstances, if ever. And he's involved in a relationship where he's doing that, not just with one person. I could see hey, I'm falling out of love. This work is really hard on me. The stress of, all these daycare centers and all these kids that don't have that money coming to them anymore. And, we're not taking care of people in Minneapolis, and how Jesus was, and Mary and Joseph were all, outsiders and all this other nonsense that he went on up there. He's telling us all these stories from a high moral point, and he's cheating on his wife, and then he's doing it with multiple employees in the city. Yeah, he was fucking people, but the worst people he was fucking are the cops up there that are already under all of this. So he came in to kind of save that city. He was brought in to do those kind of things. We picked him for this reason. And again, he can fall and fail like anybody else. But the problem is he was so outspoken about how everyone else that opposed the views and the things that they were doing up there in Minnesota and Minneapolis were wrong. Well, I was doing it. It just, again, God works in a mysterious way. He brings bad things to light,
Right.
And the thing is, too, is that, in the police world, as you move up, those things become more serious the higher levels that you're at, right? Because you're always held, I mean, everyone's held to a standard. Don't get me wrong. Like from line level all the way up, everyone is held to a standard of professionalism. But when you become a supervisor, when you become a command level person, when you become a chief, like it amplifies that bad behavior because you are held to such a high standard and you are
Right.
leading a giant organization like this. So to think that you're doing this dumb shit and then you're interfering with an investigation, like how did you think that this was going to end?
Right.
I mean, really, like you just don't, you wonder what goes through people's heads sometimes. But like you said, I think the guy's been full of shit since day one, ever since we started picking on
Well,
this
what
guy.
did they tell us in the academy? Anybody says that I won't hurt a child, I swear to God, I'll swear on a Bible, are usually the people that are the most are the most non-innocent people ever, because they have to swear to something saying, no, on my reputation, I did not do this. They have to bring a higher power into it.
Yeah,
so
he's
once he started with that
Bible
stuff,
verses, right?
yeah, throwing out Bible verses. Listen,
and again, it goes back to it's a basic social contract that you make. Perhaps one of the most basic, most important basic social contract is marriage, like between you and your wife. I get people fall, people fail, they sin, they're miserable. Own it, admit it, and kind of move on from it. It happens all the time. I'm not saying
Right.
that we're like, as a profession, I saw it a lot more in law enforcement than I saw it anywhere else, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't see it in the business world as well as in the military. Like, you know, there are different degrees of what you get out of all that. In academia, where I worked there for a little while, there was like questions of infidelity. And the thing that it does, what people don't understand, is that everybody looks at that and goes, well, he ain't following that rule. Why the fuck
Right.
does anybody need to follow any rules?
Right.
And then,
Right.
by the way, in the police world, what's even tougher is that when you're there and you're with a guy or a girl that's like married, has kids, and they're doing that to their family, knowing full well, like we've always said, end it first, and then
Right.
do what you got to do.
proceed with your whatever.
Proceed with
Right.
it, whatever your stuff is. Because there's a degree of separation. Still doesn't make it any better for the people that are involved in the divorce. Believe you me, I know that firsthand. But the bottom line is when you look at that, you think to yourself, if this guy's willing to do this, or this gal's willing to do this to her own flesh and blood, her own kids,
Yeah.
her own husband, her own family member, the basic foundation of everybody's springboard for life is your
Yep.
home life. What is he willing to do to us?
Right.
What is he willing to do to me if he gets under that much pressure? People are like, oh, you're being all high and mighty, all moral, because you've been down the path and blah, blah, blah. But the bottom line is like, dude, that's the deal. Like, that's really what everybody else is thinking, whether they want to admit it or not. And if you look at that and just go, well, whatever, the dude's doing what dude's doing. Again, realize that someday could be something like you're involved in a case with that, and that guy could sell you the fuck out.
Right.
Because if he's willing to do that to his own children, her own children, that's the thing that always concerned me about it. And then, as Scott said, you move further up in the organization. It's like, hey, when I'm a baby, I'm allowed to pee in my pants.
Right.
When I'm an adult, if I pee in my pants, I better be so fucking old and so out of
Right.
it. It's not even funny. But while I'm in the meat of like the most important aspect of my life, my kids are sitting watching me while we're watching a game, and I'm just like, I gotta go to the bathroom. There's gonna be a
Right.
fucking problem. I mean, that's a real fucking problem. People don't expect that. And that's exactly what this guy's doing. Like, look, I'm sorry. You wanted the rank. You wanted the stars on your collar. You wanted to lecture us about how, you feel this is right and wrong and have that microphone in your face all the time. You better be living by the boards, because if you're not, you're going to take a lot of heat.
And what does it do then? It breaks down all the people. If you did come in with that motivation, and maybe you were getting through to some younger officers that know that they've struggled with things in Minneapolis, and maybe you were having some kind of positive impact, and you're like, okay, let's give this guy a chance. He seems like he's out there for us. He's out there with his troops, Yeah. And then what happens? You turn around as a younger, more impressionable officer, and you're like, this scumbag was the chief. Like, what was I buying into
Right.
this? And you may have other good leaders that come and take their place, but those little things still impact you when you're, in those impressionable times of your life and your career. You're like, man, I really thought this guy was squared away and he was going to look out for us. And then he's doing stupid shit and, leaves in disgrace. And they might not be in that good of a position now with this chief that is coming in, because she's got some baggage. And I don't know where that's going. There hasn't really been a lot of story about it yet, but she has some conflict with some of the stuff that happened during the Chauvin trial. So it's like, shouldn't somebody recognize, like, hey, yes, this is bad. Okay, you took action, even though Jacob Fry's a goof, like, but you did what you had to do. This guy's gone. But now it's so important when you're in that like limbo of who do you bring in here as a solid leader? You can't bring in someone to replace him that also has baggage, that has potential, leadership issues within the agency. Like, what, you're just setting yourself up for another problem.
Okay, here it comes. You ready? The problem again is admit that it's fucked up. And just like Sean said earlier, hit the reset button. You're there. You're at the bottom of the barrel. You've got fraud out the ass. You got a police chief that's sleeping with people. You had this whole George Floyd thing that's continuing on, and then they're fighting against each other, and then you have the cities burning down, and then you're losing money. You can't keep the police. You have all this stuff. Somebody's got to say, okay, we have done numerous things wrong. For whatever reason, we're here now. Mm-hmm. As of today, I am not going to hire a person that has her own issues with coming in and the Schadenfreude and all of that. We are going to hire somebody, and we are going to put together a team. As of today, everybody's fired. I'm going to put together a team that will put us on the right path to move forward. It's like a 5-year-old that continues to lie and lie and lie and lie so they don't get in trouble. Listen, you're in trouble. You're screwed up. It's a mess. You need to start over with a fresh slate. We're here. Where do we go? And they don't want to do that. They want to keep covering it. They want to keep covering the lies because they fucked it all up.
Yeah.
And
you lose credibility.
Right. And you continue to hire people that are like-minded and yes men to what you've got going there. Like, you don't want to hire somebody that's going to call you out. Like, if you're a leader, you don't want to be challenged. Leader in air quotes, I guess. But to me, it's a matter of like, you're bringing somebody in that's just going to maybe lend itself to more controversy. It is what it is. So again, it goes back.
You're not helping it.
Jacob Fry is no angel up there either. And I think it was ironic that he's like, I'm going to reprimand you because you were trying to cover things up. And when you're in that position, you got to be in that position. You got to do what's right all the time, 24/7. Okay. Yeah. Like turning a blind eye to all the fraud that you saw up there, turning a blind eye to the laws for people that were, using that as an immigration haven, turn a blind eye to let your police officers assisting federal law enforcement when they were trying to get some really bad criminals out of this country. Jacob Fry's no angel either. Like, he's just voted in as opposed to appointed, and they'll vote him back in. So why did to me, it was like the irony was, he resigned. At least O'Hara did that, but it's just like, but I had to reprimand him, and then I had to talk about how you have to be above board. Get the fuck out of here. Right. The people in Minnesota have put up with so much nonsense, but again, it goes back to pay attention, folks, because this is what continues to happen. The cycle just
continues. Absolutely.
The cure was worse than the disease often. You know what I mean? In this case, so she's a part of the Chauvin case. I mean, whatever. We all know what
we'll
that
have to
was.
see where that see where that pans out, because that's kind of still a fresh story coming about us. She's going to be the official replacement, so we'll see. But to Chris's point, I don't care party affiliation, whatever. You want to get your law enforcement back on track, you need to have somebody come in and say, okay, we need to have a neutral person come in here and really search out the best candidate. Could they be internal? Yes. Do they need to be somebody from the outside? Yeah. Now, they got burned on that one on the outside, but you have to vet them better. And
right.
Unless they decide to do that, you're going to just keep the cycle going. That's it.
And as a leader, and a guy who's owned multiple businesses, you need people to come tell you bad news, and you need people to tell you the truth, and you need somebody, and you need to be able to look in the mirror and go, yeah, that was a mistake. It cost us, a client, or cost us money, or a lawsuit or whatever.
Spirit Airline stock.
Right. I mean, down to 4 cents. Sons of bitches. Anyway, but I mean, you just have to be able to look yourself in the mirror and say, yeah, I did that, and and move forward and listen to the people that you have on your team. But to continue just to say, no, I'm not doing it. It's, I'm not, and bearing it, it's just, it's going to get worse, and it's going to blow up. And that's my fear. Illinois, New York, Jersey, Minneapolis, LA, all that stuff's going to end up imploding, because how long can you last by doing this? At some point, they're going to go, I'm not paying any more taxes. I am not going to continue to do this. It is absolutely ridiculous. And then the stuff that's coming out, that what they're doing with their tax money, I mean, it's going to implode, and people are going to have to start paying attention, because this is just, you look at this and you're like, what are we doing? Like, you're putting somebody in there that is already has controversy with stuff. Like, where are we making our decisions?
And it applies to whether you're running a major organization like the Minneapolis Police Department, whether you're crossing the border and giving guns to pawn shops, or if you're writing tickets to one-handed ladies. I mean, it transcends.
It transcends all levels of
law enforcement.
All levels of law enforcement.
Now, mind you, the vast majority of chiefs and traffic stops don't go that way. But the bottom line is like, we
that's our
avoid
disclaimer.
Right. But the ones that do make for great material. So we want to thank everybody for listening. Please go to where you get your podcast, leave a rating, review, download, subscribe, tell all your friends, because we do try and bring the world together, so law enforcement understands civilians understand law enforcement a little bit better, to make the world a better place. Please go to 3copstalk.com. You could download old episodes, and you can leave us an email there if you have a question, concern, comment, idea for a show, want to be a guest, or have an idea for a guest. Please leave it there. And you can also do the same at 3copstalk@gmail.com. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for taking the time to listen to our shenanigans, and have a blessed day.